All right, we're going to start a new year, new style, new things. This is what you always hear at the top of the year. And before last year ended, and everybody talked about how they wanted 2020 to end, I had to end something. What I decided to end was my fandom with the New York Jets. Many people have seen me tweet about this, post this on Facebook, and Bryan had already been in the zone. So Bryan's been. How long have you been? How long have you removed yourself from the fandom of the New York Jets?
I've been sober for between 5 and 6 years.
All right.
I don't remember with the exact point. I want to say it was the 2015 season because I was like, I wanted to develop a quarterback in Geno Smith, and then hothead IKN and Polly punched him in the face. So then Ryan Fitzpatrick balled out that season, and I was like, I'm done with this shit. So it was somewhere around that point. So yeah, and then Geno Smith tore his ACL in 2016. Ryan Fitzpatrick was further cemented in the starting role, and then he became Ryan Fitzpatrick that year. They went 4-12, and the rest is history.
Yeah, so Bryan decided to leave that. And Bryan has kind of been encouraging me to take that path, to take the path to freedom. And I, for some reason, I cannot explain why, maybe I decided to hold on to that. And some of that comes because of things I think that we're raised and taught to think about in terms of sports fandom. You gotta be loyal. You gotta stick with your team. You gotta do all these things. And it's like, nah, fuck that. You don't gotta do this. You don't have to do this anymore. Now, Bryan had his last straw with the Jets. For me, what this came down to was the Jets just can't win. And even when they need to lose, they can't win. That's what it came down for me. Here's a year. The Jets are 0-11, 0-12, 12 I believe they were at this time. And they win a game. They win a game, and then they no longer have the best odds to draft Trevor Lawrence or Justin Fields or get the franchise quarterback that this team so desperately needs. As Bryan said, Bryan, which you have to see that was probably better and smarter than me, decided at a much younger point in his life and time spent rooting for the Jets that he had enough of this shit. And I decided to spend, at the time when I ended this relationship, 30 years of rooting for this franchise that didn't love me back. Now, I want to address some stuff because when I announced this, I got a lot of responses from people, especially on Facebook. Some people saying, Dex, how could you do this? You can't leave the team. First of all, stop. I can do whatever the fuck I want. I don't want to be with the team. I don't have to root for the team at all anymore. You can stop anytime you want to, just like Bryan did. I don't have to subjugate myself to the horrible outputs of this team. Yeah. Bryan talked about the fact how he was hoping they would develop a franchise quarterback. And you know what I've been waiting for 30 years? A franchise quarterback. I haven't seen one at all whatsoever. How is it that your team has existed for 30 years and you haven't seen one quarterback that you're like, man, get me to the promised land? You know who the Jets' best quarterback in my lifetime is? Tell the people, Bryan, who the Jets' best quarterback I've seen in my lifetime is.
The same one as mine, Chad Pennington.
Chad Pennington. And that's
the best we've ever had.
Best we've ever had. No disrespect to Chad Pennington. We like Chad Pennington. Solid quarterback. Got us to an AFC championship game. I was at that AFC championship game in Pittsburgh. More in Pittsburgh later.
Was he a top 10 quarterback in the league when he was with the Jets?
No. Maybe.
All right there.
Maybe
in 02 or something like that.
Maybe in 02 he was right at 10, but no. Yeah. Chad Pennington couldn't really throw the deep ball, didn't have a strong arm, very accurate quarterback, pretty good.
You trade him every year in Madden and NFL 2K.
Pretty good in the West Coast offense. And if you were playing Madden, one of the things you probably realized was it was a good thing to trade him because there was a high likelihood that he was going to get hurt, which was actually pretty accurate in real life. So, yeah, that's the best I have seen as a 37-year-old man, and Bryan has seen at his age. That's not good. Why are we doing this? And then when the team needed to lose so to get the number one pick, they couldn't do that. And what do? They don't win one. They win 2 games in a row. And that's what I said. I'm done. I haven't been watching too much of the NFL. Didn't care too much about the NFL in the last couple of years. I check in every now and then this season to kind of see what's going on. But I said, you know what? I'm going to attach my fandom to another team. I'm not a bandwagon jumper by any means, but I want to attach myself to a team that might love me back. The Jets haven't loved me. Have the Jets taken me to a Super Bowl? No. They haven't been to a Super Bowl since 1969. Now, some of you out there may say, hey, Dexter, you're a Mets fan, and you're also you're also a Knicks fan, which means you know about some pain. That's true. But at least the Mets and the Knicks, I've seen the Mets go to 2 World Series. I've seen the Knicks go to 2 NBA Finals. I've seen Hall of Fame level players play on that team at a high level that could be considered franchise players. Can't say the same about that with the Jets, other than the great Curtis Martin out of the University of Pittsburgh and the great Darrelle Revis, also out of the University of Pittsburgh. It hasn't been that much for me in terms of franchise players for me to go. So you got that Pittsburgh connection. I'm a Pitt alum. I used to live in Pittsburgh for a little bit. And I said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go and root for the Pittsburgh Steelers. You know why? Pittsburgh Steelers are a competent organization. They know what they're doing. They run things well. They have continuity. They give themselves a shot every year. They seem to draft well. They have good football people. You know what the Jets don't have? None of that. So I'm done. I'm out. I'm finished. And you know what happened, Bryan? I have to tell you about this. The night I announced this, I had someone who was a Jets fan call me. And they're like, did I see correctly what you posted on Facebook? And I'm like, yeah. And they're like,
call?
Yeah, there was a phone call for this. There was a phone call for this. And this person was trying to convince me not to go. And what I love...
Yo, we're talking about sports teams. Like, what? He gave you a call to plead with you not to go? Because, like, it's not like you're out here signing fucking contracts or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
I'm
like,
not, but here...
I think people need to treat this more like what it is. It's like, I mean, you're a fan of some shit, but you can let go. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to just stick through it or whatever. If you're a fan of an artist and they do some fuck shit, are you just gonna stand by them if it's like really, really bad?
Oh, I mean,
You know what I mean?
I
And
mean,
if it's
the answer to that is yes. People have done that with people like R. Kelly. People have done this. So
Kanye West,
yeah, people have.
well,
Yeah, people do it every
to
day.
which is, I mean, I guess more benign than R. Kelly, obviously, because he didn't commit a crime necessarily. Although apparently he's not paying his choir for whatever, but that's neither here nor there. Anyway, but like, yeah, I think like like with me, the way I looked at it, I was like, yo, what? Like, I don't get anything from rooting for this fucking team. I don't. Like, even in my lifetime, it's like they made it to the AFC Championship game in 1998. I was 4. I don't really remember. I remember playing as Vinatieri Testaverde in the video games when I was really young and hated it. I used to start Ray Lucas. You know what I mean? Like, it was just not
Hey,
time. And then in '02, that was a good year. They got to like the second round. I think one of those years was when they blew out the Chargers or some shit. There was a couple playoff runs in the 2000s, but nothing crazy. Stupid ass me got the Brett Favre jersey when I was 14. You know what I mean? Like, just aged terribly. It was a good first 11 weeks, and then after that, and then the 2 AFC Championship games. They literally haven't been to the playoffs since those AFC Championship games.
right.
Like, they've been close in 15, but it's literally been 10 years or about 10 years or going on 10. No, no, it's
Going
10.
on 10 years.
It's 10 because it was 2011 playoffs for the 2010 season
Yep.
because we're on Hard Knocks that year.
Yep.
And that was the year. And then the year after that was when we were all like, all right, like now they're going to get to the Super Bowl. And they fell flat on their face, went 8-8, and we know what happened after that. So.
And shout out to the homie Janae Coakley. I told you this year was going to be bad. And it's so bad that I said, peace. We're done. We're done here. And you're right.
You know what it is? I think you would stick with it because here's the thing: the Knicks. You can see finally the pathway to like the light at the end of the tunnel, the post Porzingis era, where it's like, oh shit, Julius Randle all of a sudden looks like a competent, not a competent NBA player. Never mind that, he looks like a borderline All Star candidate. Now it's very early. But at the same time, what we have to realize about Julius Randle, and I guess we'll talk about this a little bit later, is that he's like 25, 26 years old, still entering his prime. And he has 2 years left on that deal. You have RJ Barrett, you have Tom Thibodeau, who's like the perfect coach.
There seems like a plan. There seems to be like a plan, and the right adults are in place. That's what it seems.
And with the Mets, it's self-explanatory. You got hitters all over the place finally. You got new CEO who's willing to spend money. We'll see where that goes. You still have pitching. Like, there's a historical, like, reference for the Mets actually, having a little bit of success lately.
Okay, now sell me on what the plan is for the Jets. Go ahead, do it,
That's the thing.
do it.
I can't. Like once for me, I think I did it at the perfect time. Once Geno Smith was, once his chances of being the starting quarterback were pretty much over with, because in 2016 there was a chance maybe, but then Ryan Fitzpatrick had that good first season, so we didn't really know, and then he tore his ACL, and that was pretty much done with that because he was on an expiring contract. So the hope became Sam Darnold when they drafted him in 2017, 18, whatever year that was, right? There was that year of Bryce Petty. I don't think anyone really believed in Bryce Petty like that. If you did, then I don't know what to tell you. The window was the Sam Darnold window. If people don't get out now, I don't know what to tell you.
Well,
Because
here's
you're not getting Trevor Lawrence. Maybe you get Justin Fields, but at the same time, it's like it's the Jets. It doesn't fucking matter. And that's been the whole point of all this. How many quarterbacks have they drafted and just ran through in the first couple of rounds over however many years, whatever the case may be? Like your best three quarterbacks ever are like Chad Pennington, Joe Namath, and Ken O'Brien. Ken
not.
O'Brien's a top three Jets quarterback.
That's not good. That doesn't say good thing. Look, one thing before as you wrap up, what I learned from when that person called me and was telling me about that and sort of trying to get me not to stay. I think what I learned was the fact that, you know what, for the people that are Jets fans that are staying in this, you like misery. And what I realized about myself, especially with everything that went on last year, nah, I'm not here for the misery. That doesn't mean that I expect my team to win all the time or expect for the team to give me joy all the time. There's going to be ups and downs with any team, just like there are ups and downs in life. But I don't feel like dealing with the incompetence anymore. That's it. I'm done. I'm out. Hello, Steelers Nation. Get me a terrible towel. I'll be rooting for you guys. That's what it's going to be.
And by the way, with the Steelers, you have a black head coach who appears to have a lifetime contract there, Mike Tomlin. And you're not a Ben Roethlisberger guy, but he's on his way out. Any year could be his last year. He probably has one more after this year, if that. You know what I mean? Two at most, I would say. So there's a pathway to some good things there.
Yeah,
So I admire your choice.
I think I'll be a lot happier in terms of that.